So when you start looking at the landscape of cities across the globe and the patterns that you see, there are a number of interesting findings you see. We have already talked about some of the regional differences in the speed at which urbanization shifts from developed economies to Latin America, to some of the large Asian nations, and perhaps a little afterwards in the future to Africa. But there's other patterns as well, and the most important one we have focused on is the shifting weight of the largest cities to the middleweight ones. And the largest cities, which we call megacities, and that are commonly defined as cities with 10 million or more inhabitants, have traditionally been a lot of the focus of our attention to the emerging world. We have heard about the megacities from Shanghai to Sao Paulo to Mexico City to Cairo to Nairobi. In a way, there's a lot of talk about the challenges of rapidly growing megacities. And in fact, many of these cities went through a very rapid process of urbanization and economic transition that didn't allow the cities to keep up with the demands for infrastructure and services. And that means that many of these cities have run into constraints to their growth. They are too, in many cases, congested. The services are insufficient. Pollution is one that's starting to bother people. And for that reason, the growth rate of these cities is started to slow down. This is something that economists call diseconomies of scale, that hit after you have benefited from a lot of the economies of scale of increasing size of plants and other benefits, and then you start reaching a tipping point when diseconomies of scale start to hit in. And this is in fact what we are seeing. The biggest cities, the megacities, are no longer growing faster than the economy overall. It is the mid-sized cities that are really the engines of growth. Now, they are seeing faster entry of new people, so their populations are growing faster. They are also finding different niches of growing into different directions. You see cities like Cancun, for example, being a real tourist mecca. You see manufacturing centers in Puebla, that is a center in Mexico of automotive industries. And then you have resource-intensive industries. For example, again, picking just examples from Mexico, we can find Villahermosa, for example. So this is just in one country. You see very different patterns of growth in the mid-sized cities. And we can tell similar stories of cities in India, Africa, etc. And it's the diversity and the collective dynamism of these mid-sized cities that are not yet at the top end of their size when they start suffering from diseconomies of scale, but are large enough to get the economies of scale that really allow them to grow as fast as they do.